Hello friends, my name is Amber and this is a Lovely Yarn podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. A very heartfelt welcome to all of you who have come here to this little corner of YouTube where I like to talk about my knitting, my crocheting, my spinning, my whatever kind of crafting I'm getting up to. Today's episode is going to be mostly about knitting. I have quite a few whips that I have been diligently working on. I have one finished object that I recently completed that was a test knit. A friend and I are doing a little bit of a sewing challenge. It's not going so well, but I'm going to keep persevering. So I want to talk to you about that as well. And a few new pattern recommendations. If you are interested in any of that crafty goodness, knitting goodness, fibery goodness, stick around because we're about to get into it. I want to thank Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. Craftsy is an online platform where millions of makers, crafters, and DIY enthusiasts find inspiration, build their skills, and learn something new. They offer over 2,000 classes in more than 20 creative categories like knitting, crochet, painting, woodworking, cake decorating, and sewing. I'm taking Sew for Yourself Fit and Fashion Essentials with Sharon Zacher. I've wanted to learn how to sew garments for several years, but I've always felt a bit intimidated. So when a friend and I challenged each other to sew one garment by the end of July, I knew it was the perfect time to take this class on Craftsy. In this class, Sharon teaches everything from how to take accurate measurements and choose your size, to marking and cutting your pattern and making fit adjustments. I'm also learning how to create bulk-free seams and hems using bias, sew bust darts, insert set-in sleeves, and even install zippers. This class is definitely helping me to feel more confident with every step of the process. And right now, the first 1,000 of you to click the link in the video description or use the QR code on the screen will get a full year of Craftsy Premium membership for only $1.49, valid for new members only. So if you've been thinking about trying something new or picking up a creative hobby again, this is your sign to go for it. Thanks so much for watching and happy making. Okay, so real quick before we get into the knitting, I just want to take a minute and acknowledge my haircut. If you have not watched my most recent vlog, you will not know that I have decided to, as of right now, let my naturally gray hair grow out, which is why I have some major roots going on right now. And not only that, but I am trying to wear my hair in its naturally wavy state, which today it's like really, really flat because I did not, when I showered yesterday and washed my hair, I didn't do the correct procedure to actually bring out the curl, which is quite, in my opinion, quite involved. I've done the curly hair method before. I did it for like a year and a half and then I stopped because I found it to be too time consuming. Now, I'm not a hair person, okay? So time consuming for me is anything longer than 5 minutes. But anyway, I'm gonna give it another shot because I'm trying to just do my natural thing. And so I had my daughter who is in cosmetology school. Last week I went to the school and I had her cut my hair pretty short. I think she took off like five or 6 inches and she gave me lots of layers. I have it pulled up right now because like I said, my hair fell because I didn't put enough of the products in and I'm still learning all of that, relearning actually. And for anyone that's curly haired that's watching this, I think you probably know, you understand. I don't have to explain myself. So let's go ahead and get started. I have a lot to talk about, but I'm going to talk about the knitting. And then at the end, I'll talk about the books, the sewing project that I'm working on that I'm just going to share about really quickly. Well, you would have seen it in the Craftsy sponsorship video. You would have seen some of it about there. I just want to talk about it a little bit. And yeah, all the other stuff will be at the end. I do want to mention up front that if I mention something, then it's most likely linked down below unless I forget. So when I talk about any patterns or yarns, I will at least, usually try to link every pattern, but for the yarn, sometimes I just write the name and color of the yarn and not necessarily link to a particular store. So I have one finished object, that is it, because My knitting time is not like it is any other time of the year. I have way less knitting time in the summer. In fact, today it is like 1:30 in the afternoon and I literally only had 5 minutes to knit. And it was while I was having my afternoon coffee. So I don't get as much knitting done. I work on projects, but I just don't get things done. But I do have a little neck kerchief, which is actually quite wrinkled now. I had blocked it. But I gave it to my daughter. It's going to be my daughter's. Well, it is my daughter's. So I gave it to her and she had it tied on her purse. But it is this little neckerchief. I'm going to put probably a video here on the side of how I would style this if I was going to wear it. And I'm actually going to make myself one because, well, let me tell you the details of the pattern first. So as I said, this was a test knit for Ashley Adams of Design by So-and-so. That is her name on Instagram. Trying to find my extras here. And I really like I like silk hankies to wear on my neck. I like little knit ones. I have a couple of different ones I've made as well as ones that I've thrifted that I wear. And I really like that look and I appreciate just the light warmth it gives when that is needed. So Ashley put the call out for this test knit and I signed up to do it. And this is called the Classy Camp Kerchief. It's kind of like a spin-off of her summer camp kerchief, which I think I also actually, did I test knit that? Or maybe I just knit that pattern and I knit it in I knit it 2 different times and I feel like I recently talked about it. But this particular pattern, you can either knit this. The instructions come for all over lace, which is what I chose to do, or you can choose, there's instructions to knit it half lace and half solid, which is also super cute. But I wanted something for Lily that was all over lace because she has talked about wanting a neckerchief or something to wear in her hair. But she said that they're normally, like the crocheted ones are always really heavy and they just don't set nice in her hair and then they often fall out. So this is nice. I mean, you can see it's nice and bouncy. And part of that is due to the fact that I used Knitting for Olive pure silk, but also the fact that it's all over lace work. This color is Poppy Blue, and this was one of the yarns that I had purchased when I went to Yarn Bits and Bobs. I bought 3 skeins of Knitting for Olive pure silk, and this was one of them. And I knit it. I mean, I bought it with the intention of knitting something for Lily, particularly something like this for Lily. So here we go. I knit it to pattern. So when I finished, I weighed it because I thought, wow, I have a lot left. And to my I was pleasantly surprised when I realized that I still had 29 grams of yarn left. So this little kerchief only used up 21 grams of the skein. So I'm going to actually cast on another one and I'm going to make one for myself because I think it's such a cute little accessory, whether you wear it around your neck or in your hair, which I'm actually really interested in wearing in my hair now that I have this shorter haircut. I feel like it looks so cute. I think it is so versatile. There's so many ways that you can actually wear this and accessorize with this piece. So great pattern. I'm gonna make mine in the full, like all over lace because I really like the look of that and I love the drape of it. But I also really liked the look of the one that was half lace and half stockinette. So check those out. Check it out and see what you think. But I really like it and I'm looking forward to knitting another one. And this time I'm going to selfishly knit it for myself. So let's talk about my Lotus top. And this is a pattern, a free pattern by Focolana. And I think I started this back in June. I think I'd have to look at in my knitting journal, but I'm almost done with the body. I'm on the ribbing. I don't know. I need to try this on to see if if I'm ready to actually bind off on the ribbing, because I don't want to make it too short, but I also want to keep in mind that it's going to grow a little bit. The yarn I'm using is Drops Saffron, and it is 100% cotton. This is the main color 63, which I think is like sea green or something like that. And then I'm holding this other color, which is a terracotta. I forget the name of it. That's my contrast color. You can get the picture here, and it's gonna look so much nicer when it's actually blocked and you can see the color work better. But I'm really liking these two colors together. When I first casted this on, I thought I'm gonna do the sea green color and then do an off-white for the contrast. And then I saw that I had 2 skeins of this left, and I thought, no, Amber, that's what you need to do. You need to go to that color. And I'm really glad that I did. I think this is gonna look amazing when it's all finished. And I just need to finish it. Almost done with this. I'm slightly concerned that the neck is gonna be a little bit looser than I like, but if it is, I will address that when I get to that point. I also, after I bind off down here, I need to go pick up the sleeve stitches and do just a little sleeve. I don't know what the pattern says. I don't think there's much, but it's going to be really fast because it's the color. There's no more color work on the sleeves. It's just going to be, stockinette in the round, and it'll fly by. But this was a fun pattern, and it was really great that it was free. I thought I had knit the 3rd size, but then when I was counting my stitches after the yoke, I realized, no, actually I had knit the 2nd size. And there was a question when I was trying to figure out which size to knit, because I was in between the 2 and the 3. And I for some reason thought that I knit the size 3, but it turns out I actually knit the size 2. So I think maybe what happened was at some point I reminded myself that I like to go off my upper bust measurement rather than my full bust measurement. When I go by my full bust measurement, I often end up with a sweater that is too oversized or baggy on me. If I go, let's move that spinning wheel a little bit. If I go by my upper, then I often get a sweater that fits me a lot nicer. I think this only comes in 4 different sizes. Yeah, it's size small, medium, large, and extra large, but it is a free pattern. All right, let's go to the next sweater that I'm working on, and I've talked about this one several different times on here. This is actually a kit that I received from Unraveled Knitting. This is the Luna sweater. Ooh, I don't have this. I don't have stitch. Hold on. Let me put my little stitch, my little needle protectors, stitch stoppers, whatever you want to call it. But let me put those back on so I don't pull stitches off. Okay, so here we go. This is what I've got so far, which is quite a bit. And I just picked this up again. It has been so hot here, and humid, so hot and humid, which why would I try to do my curly hair this time of the year? I don't know, but it's been upwards of 90 some degrees and humid. It's the humidity that makes it worse. So because of that, I have not been knitting on this as much as I did earlier in the summer when we were getting all the rain and cooler temperatures, because this yarn, which is a lovely, very spectacular yarn, I love it, would definitely use this again. This is one of them. I'm holding 2 yarns double for this project. So this is the greenish bluish color. What I know, I've raved on and on about this in the past, but I love this so much. I would knit a whole sweater out of just, these are my colors. Okay, so this is the Unraveled Dew. This is a 50-gram ball that has 150 meters. It's alpaca, wool, and linen. It's mostly alpaca. It's 45% alpaca, 35 wool, and 20% linen. So I'm taking that and I'm holding it double with this Surrey silk. Okay, and so This is 74% baby Surrey alpaca and 26% mulberry silk. So as you can imagine, this is a luxurious fabric. This sweater to me is not a, I need to get this done really fast, like this one is, because the Lotus sweater, I want to wear it in the summer, or at least not on these really, really hot days, but I'd like to have that done for the summer, where this one, my goal is have this done by fall, have it ready to go by fall. I would highly recommend this kit. Hey, so this is Editing Amber, and I forgot to add in this little segment that I am currently an affiliate with Unraveled Knitting. So I will put a link down below in my video description. And if you use that link and the code A Lovely Yarn, you will get 10% off your first kit. It's going to be like so cozy. It's going to be so cozy. This is definitely beginner friendly. It's just, it's been really easy. So I wouldn't worry about that if you're, you know, I've never knit a sweater. Well, this one's a really easy one to knit. It's just raglan increases, easy to keep track of. The pattern was clear. Once I get the body to the length, which I feel like I still have quite a ways to go for that. But then I'll do the sleeves, and I've shown this picture before, but let me just show you again, just to refresh. It has those little bell sleeves with the I-cord ties. So yeah, like I said, I just recently picked this up again, and we have had some cool mornings this week. It gets really hot in the afternoon, but the mornings have been cool enough that I actually have to put on like a light flannel when I go out on the porch to knit in the morning. And so I've been working on this during that time, and it's just been wonderful. Okay, we might as well stick with the garments because that's what I've shown you so far. We went to Shenandoah National Park 2 weeks ago. We went with the intention of hiking and very quickly realized that, which I had this suspicion and I should have known better, to book a vacation, a hiking vacation to Virginia in July. But we got there and it was very, very hot. I think the first couple of days we were there, it was 100 or a little over, and high, very high humidity. There were pop-up thunderstorms the entire week except for our last day, that day was slightly cooler, so we did go for a hike that day. But while we were there, we went to Charlottesville, which is like a smaller city. And we went there several times. We went there to eat a few times, and then we went there to just walk around the pedestrian mall. There are some shops there. There's lots of restaurants and coffee shops. And that is also where Magpie Knits is. I included some footage of our visit there in my last vlog episode that I just posted last week if you want to see like the inside of that extremely cute yarn store. I actually really liked her variety of yarn that she had. Lots of variety, lots of different brands and types of yarn, and Susan, who is the owner, is the absolute sweetest. So I got Sandnes Garn Line. I've been wanting to try this, and Susan had a bunch there, and so I picked this color, which is called, this is light blue. I thought it had a more fun name in person, but maybe light blue it says. I don't know. I'll put the color number down below. But this blue, I'm really excited about this blue. And of course, I decided to cast on another Ranunculus because I love that pattern. But also I had another reason for doing that because I want to compare, I am so curious. I want to compare the difference between working with Drops Bell, which I've worked with a ton. I've made a lot of summer tops out of the Drops Bell, and the Sandnes Garn Line, because I've never used it. I'm doing a little experiment for myself, and of course this is going to be very subjective because it's my opinion and everything, but I'm going to knit this top just like I knit my Drops Bell Ranunculus, and I'm going to compare the two in both the process of knitting it as well as the finished product, because they both have, I think, exactly the same content, fiber content, which is viscose, linen, and cotton. So this has 53% cotton, 33 viscose, and 14% linen. So what my plan is I want to do this, and then I'm going to talk about it in the future. So I will talk about all the details of it then. But that was another reason, not that I need another reason to cast on another ranunculus, because I love this pattern so stinking much, as you all know if you've been here for any length of time, really. Oh, I should have put it on longer cables, but I didn't. So you can see I'm not very far in. I just finished like this first part of the lace yoke. Now I am doing this a little bit different than I have done all my other ranunculus sweaters. The main thing I did differently was I've never used the cast on in the pattern. I usually just cast on 60 stitches. So I usually do like 8 or 9, US 8 or 9 needle. I've never done it on the suggested 10. So for this one, I started with a US 8 and I cast it on 60 stitches, and the ribbing was so sloppy for some reason. I had to rip it out. I got into like the short rows and I was just looking at the ribbing, and I was not happy with it at all. And so I ripped it out, and what I ended up doing is going from a size US 8 down to a size US 6. Now I do realize this may affect the finished garment as far as the drape of it, because I thought that I had knit this on a size US 8 when I knit my last ranunculus. I've actually knit several in the drop spell, I think. Again, all those details will be in the future video. But now I'm wondering, because I had such a large gauge with the US 8, so now I'm wondering if I didn't knit it with a smaller needle and just forgot about that. It also could be that I'm now a continental knitter rather than a solely an English knitter, which I think the last time I knit this pattern in the summer yarn, I was knitting English style, and I definitely have a tighter gauge when I knit English style than when I knit continental. So that could also be. But I just want to have the experience of working with this and see how it compares to the drop spell, in my opinion. So I tore that out, cast it on with a US 6, and then I was going to go up to an 8 for the body, but then I started this. Let me show you on the back where there's more short row shaping. And I thought, no, I'm sticking with the 6, because if I go to an 8, it's going to be really see-through. And I don't know if it's just because this is a lighter yarn that I'm feeling that way, or maybe it's just the Lena, how it differs from the Bell when you're working with it. So I'm knitting this entire thing in a US 6. Okay, next up I have my heel toe do-si-do socks by Klitten, or known as the Crazy Sock Lady. I'm on the first one. This is Super Garn Active yarn. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this because there's not a lot to say. It has that pretty patterning down the front, which is really nice. It's like a chevron patterning, which is really nice if you have a self-striping yarn. And this is what the yarn looks like in the skein. This is what it's looking like knitted up. And I like this yarn because it feels very durable for a sock. So yeah, working on that. Okay, do you guys recognize this? This was the thrift store yarn that I talked about, I think, on my last regular episode. And I said, there's so many breaks in this yarn, I don't understand. I bought it caked up like this, and it was $1.25. And I found it when we were camping in June, and I bought it. It was marked as 100% cotton yarn, but that was just like on the price tag, somebody had marked that. I knew that this was not. This is like a wool and nylon. I can tell it feels just like a indie dyed sock yarn. So I cast it on this sock while we were knitting, or while we were camping, and this is the blueberry waffle sock. And very quickly I got to the end of the yarn, like a yarn strand, and I was like, what's going on? Well, let me just show you. Let me just show you what I've been dealing with. And at our knit night on Thursday this past week, I was just like, I am not going to let this sock beat me. I am going to keep going, because actually it's not the sock, it's the skein of yarn. I'm trying to turn it inside out, and it's on these needles. And so here, let me just carefully do that. Okay, look at all these ends. These are all, can you see this? And that's not even all of them, because look, some of them are really, really short. Like, do you see how many little ends are popping out all over the place? Because that's how many breaks in this yarn that there was. It's been constant. I don't know if it's gonna get better as I go. I've been trying to knit it in as I go because I did not want to weave in all of those ends. And that is probably the only reason I'm continuing with this project. And I'm just like so stubbornly determined to not let this skein of yarn beat me. When I talked about this last time, so many of you said, oh my gosh, it's probably moths. And I freaked out. I freaked out because I had been working on this, and I also had this yarn in the bag, in the same project bag. And this yarn is my Farmer's Daughter Fibers. This was one of my monthly subscription yarns, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I have plans for this yarn for a colorwork sock. And I had taken it with us camping because I was gonna like wind it up and start it there. And then I found this and I never did. So immediately, like that day after you guys all started chiming in the comment section that it was probably moths, I took this yarn and I stuck it in our deep freezer. I took actually the whole project bag, the other yarn, this yarn that was in the bag, I stuck it in the deep freezer and I put it in there for 2 weeks, and then I pulled it out and then I stuck it back in. Like you guys were telling me what to do, so thank you. And so it was in the deep freeze. I just pulled it out. And just started back up on these. I really don't believe there was like an active moth infestation in it. Maybe at some point in time, a moth had chewed through, if that's even what it was, but it probably was. And and I should know better. I've bought yarn at thrift stores before. I bought a whole bag of Knit Picks Stroll that I found for like $6, like a gallon-sized bag at a thrift store. And I came home and I immediately put that in my deep freezer and left it in there for over a month. But this, I don't know what happened to me. I just like casted it on right away. And I was like, here, let's put it in with another skein of expensive yarn and see what happens. All right, I forgot I want to show you a couple of acquisitions that I recently made. And the first one is this adorable project bag from Olivia of this Handmade Life. Oh my goodness, she recently had an update. So I am pretty positive that she has more bags in her shop. Now look at this cute little zipper pull. That's so cute. So this bag is adorable. I love it. I actually have another one of these of Olivia's, this one that I bought. This is a Christmas themed bag, but I use it all year round. I don't care about that. I bought this, I think last year before Christmas when she had it for sale. And I just thought I need a summery bag. I own so many bags from Olivia. Look how cute that is. That's so cute. Can you see that little yellow flowers? I love her bags. They're so well made, and she's a sweetheart. I mean, look, they are so well made. Like, look at this. Look at this. You've got this little handle over here. I will shout out her little company always because I just love her bags so much. And because she's the sweetest, like she's literally the sweetest. She's so sweet. She was like, Amber, I'm going to ship your bag out tomorrow. I wondered if you wanted one to, okay, I'm getting ready to use that G word again. Use as a gift. Oh, I wish I didn't have to be so like careful about this. But she was like, I was wondering if you wanted to use one as a gift for your podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I would love to, because I do love her work so much and I'd love to share it with other people. And I was also thinking, I recently hit the 30K subscriber mark, which I try not to get too wrapped up in numbers, but it was kind of a little exciting, I have to say. So when I hit that, I had already been thinking when I was like in the 29K area, I was thinking I should do a gift. I should do a gift when I hit 30K. And then it happened. And then it happened around the same time Olivia had mentioned that. So I was like, oh, that's a fantastic idea. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. So she sent me one, and I didn't take it out of its package because I don't want to take it out of its package. I want whoever gets this to have the joy of taking it out of its package. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's darling. Okay, so that's a good picture of the main fabric. It has little spools of yarn, little spools of embroidery thread, a thimble, little scissors, and then it's got this adorable gingham contrast fabric. Look at that. Can you see that? Hold on. Can you see it? It's like scissors, a spool of thread, and a button for the zipper pull. So cute. Okay, so this, and then I'm gonna throw in some other goodies as well, including this skein of yarn, and there will be other things in there as well because it's to celebrate something which in my mind is like pretty exciting. So I typically, I don't know what, it's gonna be a surprise. It's gonna be a surprise. So I'm just gonna like gather some stuff, and it's gonna be super fun to gather things and just put them in this little box and mail it out to whoever, I don't want to use the W word either, whoever gets randomly chosen by the random comment generator. This is going to be open to everyone. Normally, I do these kind of things with just like within the United States because of shipping costs, but I am so grateful for all of you. And so I am just going to open it to like international, domestic, whatever, anyone. You just got to leave a comment down below. And I don't even really care what you say. Tell me what you're spending most of your crafty time on this summer. Like me, I do so many things that I don't knit as much this time of the summer. I just went through a period of time where I embroidered more than I was knitting. So like, tell me something like that. I don't care. Tell me something inspiring because I love to be inspired by other people. So tell me something inspiring down below. Also, if you could please be a subscriber too, because I want this to go to somebody who has actually helped me reach that milestone. So please be a subscriber as well. I would appreciate that. And then also if you could just like this video as well. So those three things: comment, subscribe, like. And my next regular episode, I will like randomly choose. And yeah. Okay, so let's move on. I wanted to tuck that in there, and let's move on because I have a few more things to talk about. So I wanted to show you this little kit that I got. Now, I didn't buy this. I actually was sent this by Wington Yarn Co. or Club, Wington Yarn Club. Now, this is a UK-based subscription service where it's kind of like row one here in the United States, where every month you get yarn sent to you. They're little skeins. This is from Giddy Yarns, but these are all UK yarn, indie yarn dyers. And you get 10 10-gram minis and sent in this cute little fabric pouch. That's a really pretty color. Very bright and happy. But anyway, so this was sent to me as a gift. She didn't tell me I had to talk about it on here, but I wanted to talk about it. And I did a little reel on Instagram, and I'm really happy to add some more minis to my mini skein stash because I love having yarn put back for scrappy projects, and I have a few in mind to get started with on this fall. So that was really exciting to receive that. And I'll put the link for Wington Yarn Club down in the description box as well. I'd like to quickly talk about two different sweater garment patterns that have been on my radar. Newer. Well, the one is brand new. The other one's actually not new. It was designed in 2022, June of 2022. So let's talk about that one first. It is called the Rib Rib Lace Raglin by James and Watts. I saw this on Lamb & Kids, either their stories or they just recently did a reel where they featured one of their employees, I think, is what I'm assuming, had knit this in one of their yarns, and it was so adorable. Now it's lacy and open, and I have been looking for a shirt like that to wear over my sleeveless summer dresses. I had originally been looking at his pattern that I think it's called Look at My Holes, and I had myself talked into knitting that, but now I saw it. But then I was like, I don't know if I want something that open. Like, I don't know, I've been back and forth. Have any of you knitted that one? Anyway, so then I saw this one and I thought, oh, that's really cute too, and it's not quite as open, so maybe that would be a better choice for me. I don't know which one I'm actually going to do. I think the Look at My Holes, I think, is a DK weight, where the Rib Lace Raglan is knit with fingering weight, and I typically don't like fingering weight sweaters, but it might be lighter, and so it might be nicer to have a lighter option than a DK. I don't know, because I don't know. I'm still thinking. I might not even end up knitting either of those, but it was something I was thinking about. And then the other pattern is a brand new pattern by Florence, Handmade. Is it Florence? Hold on, let me look. It's Florence Miller. She is the one that wrote the step-by-step cardigan and pullover, which I'm still knitting the step-by-step cardigan. Oh my gosh. I ran out of yarn, had to order more, and I haven't picked it up again. But anyway, back to this. So she just released this pattern I think it was last week. I think it was last Wednesday or Thursday, and I immediately bought it because it is so cute. It's right up my alley. It's called the Forget Me Not Jumper. It is a colorwork yoke sweater, and look at it. It is adorable. I like both of her versions that she has as samples. She has one that she knit in an oatmeal colored yarn, so it's lighter, and then she has one that she knit. It looks like it might be a navy or a charcoal. I can't tell for sure, and I didn't look at the details of the yarn, but I also like that one too. I feel like I would probably knit it in a lighter yarn, but I don't know. But I bought the pattern because it was on sale when she first released it. Let me see if it's still on sale. I don't think so. It is knit with DK weight yarn. I like DK weight sweaters. And it's like around $9 US dollars, but that's going to be something I cast on this fall. Not casting that on now, but I liked it so much that I just went ahead and bought it while it was on sale. Okay, so that is all my knitting content. Now I want to show you what I'm going to be, so that video, the video that I did for the class that I'm taking through Craftsy. So I have sewn very basic things in the past. Like I've sewn some doll clothing. I've sewn a gazillion. During the pandemic, I sewed like, I don't know, 500 masks. It was crazy. I've done a lot of straight line stitching. I've done simple things, but I've never made a garment for myself. And so last month, my friend and I were talking about it. She has sewn some stuff for her daughter. She has a 3-year-old daughter. So she has made like shorts and dresses and stuff for her daughter, but she's never made anything for herself. And so I was like, let's do a little challenge, and by the end of July, let's sew one thing for ourselves. The end of July seemed so far away at the end of June, but now the end of July is almost here. It is July 23rd, this day that I am filming this, and I have not progressed like I thought I would. And part of that, no, it's all because I've just been busy, just been really busy. Anyway, so I'm taking that Craftsy class, which is Sew for Yourself. And the reason I chose that one is because it talked about cutting out your pattern and adjusting it to fit you well. Like this particular pattern that I purchased off of Etsy, it was not included in the class. The class actually uses a short sleeve t-shirt pattern, but I've been wanting to make a tank that is pretty much the same as this tank, which I bought this from my friend's clothing boutique. So this is not Handmade. It's the cutest shirt ever. It's got like little embroidered dandelions on it. But I love this shape of tank, and I like how it's got a nice crop. It's just like, I wanted something else like this. And so when I found this pattern on Etsy, it was on sale for like $3. And I thought, I'm going to try that. It was marked as a something beginner, maybe like confident beginner. I don't even know if it was that marked for that advanced. I'm trying to find a picture of it. Here, I'll show you like the sizing picture so you can get an idea. Very basic, right? Very basic, but it does have bust darts. And I had read that if your bust darts are in the wrong place, then it's not going to fit you right. And that makes total sense, because if the bust darts are like down here and my bust is up here, or if the bust darts are higher, you know what I mean? So in this class, she shows you how to actually take your pattern and move that bust dart and do all of that. So this is where I'm stuck. So I have my pattern, I printed it at home, and I have my pieces taped or glued together and cut out. And this is the front panel, this is the back panel. Now, when I hold it up to myself, which is what she says to do, I think this is, hold on, let me do it this way because my microphone is over there. I think I'm going to be okay with my bust dart because it is like, it's right here, which is where my bust is. So I think I'm going to be okay. I've been so intimidated to sew myself a garment. I don't know why. My husband and daughter at the dinner table the other night, I was talking about this, and they are like, why are you so nervous about this? You knit your clothing. And I was like, I know, but it's like all the steps to getting ready. And it just like, once you cut, you can't rip it out. You like cut, it's cut. It's done. Jody, my friend, who owns Flower Hill Fleeces, who I talk about all the time, well, she also sews. And so she had this muslin fabric, and she said, take this, because she had a bunch of it. She said, take this and do like, I don't know what it's called, when you basically are doing like a mock-up of it, your first one, and it's like your practice thing, and then you feel comfortable with it, and then you can make more. So she gave me, I measured, I cut off what I needed according to the pattern instructions. I washed and dried it in the dryer. And now I have it ready to actually lay my pattern pieces on and cut it out and get started. And I'm really, really excited. The only thing I need to do is get bias tape. I thought about making my own bias because when I was making all those masks, I actually was, before I got smart and started using elastic, I was making like basically bias tape things to tie. And so I bought this little gadget that helps you make bias tape easily. So I may just make my own bias tape so that it matches this color. I actually like this color. It's just muslin. So it's got like the little brown specks in it, if you can see. But, and it's got a nice feel for what I would want this tank to feel like. But I'm going to give it a shot, guys. I am. I just don't know if I'm going to be... I realistically don't think I'm going to finish this by the end of July. I am feeling better now that I know like that class and stuff, watching it. I'm not the whole way through yet. And some of the things that are in that class, I'm not going to have to do for this tank. Like I don't have to put in set-in seams for my sleeve or set-in sleeves. I don't have to do a zipper on this. So this is pretty basic and simple, I think, other than you know, putting the bias on the neckline, or all the hems, like the arms and the neck. Okay, so now let's move on to the books. The first one I want to talk about is this Make, Thrift, Mend. I'm really enjoying this. I think I mentioned this in one of my last episodes because I was watching a class on Craftsy called, I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it was all about sashiko, and it got me... I was like, I want to learn all I can about sashiko mending. And so I bought this, and it is like I think she wrote another book first. Mending Matters. That was her first book. And I remember, did I check that book out of the library? I remember reading that one. or at least looking through it. Maybe I looked at it at the bookstore. But anyway, I am really enjoying this. It's like an inspirational book. It's a how-to book. There's projects in here. But she also just talks about why she wants to mend her clothing and, you know, approaching clothing in a more sustainable way. I'm definitely not like, I mean, I like clothing. I try to be conscious of, like, I do a lot of thrifting and stuff, but I have not deep dived into the whole clothing sustainability like some people have. Definitely, like, not like she has. I'm trying to be better with that. I have bought fast fashion in the past. Every now and then I will buy something from like Gap or what other brands? Like at Target, you know, I have bought stuff there. But most of the time I'm thrifting my clothing, you know, or I'm like, this shirt was something I bought from my friend's boutique, which she sells all natural fiber clothing. But I like this. It's inspiring me to look at my wardrobe, and instead of being like, oh, those jeans really have major holes in them, I need to just get rid of them. Instead, I'm like, oh, I could make these really cute with some patches and some sashiko mending. So this has just been a very inspirational book for me to watch. And there's also some things in here about like natural dyeing, which is interesting. I've done a little bit of natural dyeing in the past, nothing recent. So yeah, there's just, like I said, projects and educational information in here and pretty pictures, just, yeah, inspiring. So I've been enjoying that book. Okay, so that wraps it up for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. I am looking forward to the possibilities for my channel in the future. I have some great ideas for some future episodes. Thank you everyone who left a question for me either on Instagram or here on the community portion of my YouTube channel, because I'm going to do a Q&A episode in the future, but I think I might have to break it into 2 Q&As, and I'm trying to think of a creative way to do it so that I'm not just sitting here talking back to you guys, answering your questions, and I have some ideas for that. So I'm looking forward to that. And I just have lots of ideas right now for potential videos and episodes. I'm really excited about that. And again, thank you. Thank you for all of your support, your comments. Oh my gosh, thank you guys for all of your cheerleading comments on my vlog for growing out my gray hair. It actually made me excited. I can't guarantee I'm not going to change my mind and dye it brown again, but I'm just saying it actually made me feel a little excited about growing my hair out. So we'll see how that all goes. That's an ongoing story. The ending is to be determined. But okay, thank you guys for watching and for all of your support and comments, and I will see you all next time. Happy making!